Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into one of the best builds you can make for endgame in Elden Ring. This fast-killing Moonveil warrior intelligence dexterity build is absolutely insane. Intelligence and dexterity is an amazing combination in Elden Ring because it allows you to master versatility. You are going to be very effective up close. You're going to be able to kill enemies very fast up close with your Moonveil Katana, but also keep in mind there is enemies in this game where getting too close may not be the best option, so that's what makes intelligence so great for this setup and the spells that we're using. Very high damage up close, also very high damage from range, which is what makes this setup very, very good for endgame. So if being a magic warrior sounds like the right route for you, let's go ahead and take a deep dive at the Moonveil warrior intelligence dexterity build. Alright guys, so before we take an in-depth look at this build, I do want to mention that I'm going to try my absolute best to put a link in the description below for every single item that we go over in today's video, all of the ones that make this build so powerful. Just in case you guys are curious, there is a couple we are going to cover in the video, but just in case anybody wants a more in-depth approach, I will definitely put some links in the description below. I got you guys. Now, obviously, it's no surprise at all. One of the main weapons we are going to be covering in today's video is the Moonveil Katana. Easily one of the best weapons in Elden Ring. Very fast attacks, tons and tons of damage. And the way we have it set up here today is very good because we don't use much mana. And every time we take out our opponent, we actually get FP back. I do also want to make something very clear. All of the gameplay footage you guys are seeing in today's video is a new game plus. This is my second playthrough, so this is an end game build, but use this video as a guide to make sure you're moving in the right direction towards a setup similar to mine. So the first thing I want to go over is my stats, and I made sure in this video, after everyone's feedback, to go over my stats without having the Godrick's Great Rune activated. I just died intentionally so we can take a look at my base stats, and then we can take a look at what the stats look like with the Great Rune activated. So these are my base stats on this build. As you can see, I'm level 181, so definitely endgame. Like I said, this is my second playthrough. For Vigor, we are sitting at 40. It's extremely important to have a decent amount of HP for this type of setup because you are going to be up close, but you definitely want to take advantage of that Moonveil Katana. Trust me, that ability is very strong. For mind, I have 35. Also, I think endurance is extremely important. Endurance 34, strength 12. You can see here dexterity is at 40, intelligence is at 82. These are the two main attributes that you want to prioritize. Like I said, your highest damage attacks rely heavily on intelligence, so that is the reason I prioritized it. We can see here we have faith at 8 and arcane at 9. If I go ahead and activate my Great Rune, since we just activated Godrick's Great Rune, it increased our stats across the board. Our vigor is at 45, our mind is now at 40, endurance 39, strength 17, dexterity 45, intelligence at 87, which is pretty impressive, faith 13, and arcane 14. If we take a look at our equipment here, you can see that the Moonveil Katana is our primary weapon. Mine is +9 right now. Keep in mind, when you upgrade special weapons like this one, +10 is the maximum, and you need a Dragon Sombring Stone, which I'll get soon. I ran out, but even at +9, this weapon is performing very well in New Game Plus. I can't imagine how much better it's going to be once I fully max it out. But you can see here, Transient Moonlight is the ability that you guys were seeing on screen. What's great about this ability overall is there's two different attacks. You have a light attack, but you also have a heavy attack, which stuns a lot of enemies and, trust me, does a lot of damage. So the Moonveil Katana here at +9, our physical attack power is 168 +95. You can see here, obviously, we also have magic damage on this weapon, which is why it's so good for this build. Our magic is 200 +200. For our attribute scaling here, you can see that dexterity and, most importantly, intelligence are the two main attributes to focus on when using this weapon. Attributes required to use this weapon: you need 12 strength, 18 dexterity, and 23 intelligence. We also have blood loss buildup, which is also very good to have. Obviously, to make spells possible, you do need a staff. We are actually using the CARIAN REGAL Scepter +9. This is actually one of the weapons you are rewarded with after killing Renala. At +9, you can see our attribute scaling is S tier for intelligence. I would say for the apparel, it's honestly personal preference, but I would focus on items that give you focus and vitality. A really good armor set that gives you everything is the Confessor. Your robustness, focus, vitality, and immunity is all high, making this a great option for pretty much every build in the game. I finally got my hands on some really good talismans for this build. The first one here I just got recently, the Ancestral Spirit's Horn. The item effect restores FP upon defeating enemies. So every time we kill an enemy, we get a percentage of FP back, which is very good to have. Pair that up with the CARIAN FILIGREED Crest, which lowers FP consumed by skills. So every time we use Transient Moonlight, not only is our skill cost decreasing, but we are also getting FP back for every kill that we get using this ability. This allows for lots of successive attacks, way more hits on your target. For more details on how to obtain the Ancestral Spirit's Horn, I will put a link in the description below, but I will say you go to Nokron and you light all of the torches in the area and you actually fight the Ancestral Spirit. After defeating this boss, you will get the Ancestral Spirit Horn, which I think is essential to have for any type of intelligence build. We also have the Crimson Amber Medallion +2, which vastly raises our maximum HP. Like I mentioned, your HP is extremely important to you because you are going to be up close most of the time in combat, and you want to make sure you have as much survivability as possible. We also have the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman +2, which vastly boosts physical damage negation. This is going to allow us to take more hits before we die. And the very last talisman here, last but not least, the CARIAN FILIGREED Crest, like I mentioned, which lowers FP consumed by skills. So there's actually two ways you can obtain this talisman. The first way is earlier in the game when you go to the Mistwood Ruins, you can run into Blade and start a quest from there. But if you've already started Ronnie's quest line and you completed it, you have to kill Blade at Ronnie's Rise. After you kill Blade, he will drop all of his armor. What I did after killing Blade is I came over here to this side of Grace, the road to the manor on the west side of the map. There's a blacksmith here named EG, and he sold me this talisman for 5,000 rune. Now for my spells, I like a more simplistic approach to combat. I don't like having too many options. I think the COMET overall is one of the best spells to use. Consistent damage, it does a lot of damage, and it's very reliable in most situations, and it's pretty much my main spell that I use on this build. Now keep in mind there's many spells in this game to use. It's going to be personal preference, but I'm telling you guys right now that the COMET is one of the best to use. I also just recently obtained ADULAS Moonblade, which is really good, a huge area of effect, and you apply frost damage. Very, very good. For my wondrous physic, I am using the Opaline Bubble tier and the Cerulean Hidden tier. Both are very good. The first one here, the Opaline Bubble tier, significantly negates damage. So basically the first hit we take is not going to do any damage at all, which allows us to get up close and activate powerful spells, you know, high damage attacks without really having to worry about taking a lot of damage in return. For the Cerulean Hidden tier, this one eliminates all FP consumption. I'll actually show you guys right now. So if we go ahead and use this, you can see here on our FP bar, we are not using any FP whatsoever. Obviously, if we were in combat right now, we would be consuming endurance, but it doesn't really matter too much because endurance is free and it comes back pretty fast, right? And that, my friends, is the Moonveil warrior build. My playthrough has been a piece of cake so far, hardly died at all, and I feel like I'm going to be using this build for a long time. I highly recommend it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more videos, any specific videos, also let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be super appreciated. It seriously helps with the algorithm, helps recommend this video to more people that may need it. Thank you all for being here. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.